Get up, you lazy sons of whores! There's men out there who want to fuck your corpses!
Under the influence of the milk of the poppy, Ned dreams an old dream of the showdown at the Tower of Joy. In the dream, as it was in life, his friends ride with him. Howlam Reed, Lord Willem Dustin, Ethan Glover, Martin Cassell, Theo Wool and Sir Mark Risewell. They were 7 facing 3, but these 3 were men of the King's Guard and living legends. Lord Commander Sir Gerald Hightower, Sir Arthur Dane, the Sword of the Morning, and Sir Oswald Went. Ned had looked for them on the Trident, and at the sack of King's Landing, and at the siege of Storm's End, but found them guarding this tower near the Red Mountains of Dorne. In spite of Rhaegar's death, they refused to bend the knee. By the end, only Ned and Howlam Reed remain alive. Ned is awoken from the dream in the midst of making a promise to his dying sister Lyanna after the battle. Vaon Poole is calling, and this wakes Ned. He is informed that it has been 6 days, and King Robert has commanded that Ned attend him when he wakes. Ned replies that he is too weak, but he would be pleased to receive the king in his room. When Ned asks for his captain of the guard, remembering that Jory is dead, Alyn appears. He tells Ned that Jaime Lannister has left King's Landing, that extra guards have been put on, that his daughters have been with him every day, and that Jory, Heward and Will have been given to the Silent Sisters to be sent north to Winterfell. Ned remembers that Jory's father, Martin Cassell, who was one of his 7 at the Tower of Joy, was buried in the Dornish Marches with the others. That takes Ned back to his dream. He does not think it bodes well for him to dream that dream now. It is then that Poole announces the arrival of both Robert and Cersei. Ned does not think it bodes well that Cersei has come either. Ned orders that they be sent in and that the others leave, as what is to be said should be kept secret. When Robert asks if Ned knows what his wife has done, Ned states that Catelyn is blameless since she took action on his behalf and under his authority as Hand of the King. The king tells Ned he is unhappy, and the king's hand is supposed to keep the peace, but 7 men are dead. Cersei corrects this to 8, as a Lannister guardsman recently died of his wounds. Robert declares that he will not tolerate it and demands that Ned command Tyrion Lannister's release and make peace with Jaime. Ned angrily replies that 3 of his men were butchered in front of his eyes because Jaime wished to chastise him. Cersei leaps to Jaime's defence, accusing Ned and his men of attacking Jaime while returning drunk from a brothel. Ned calmly reminds Robert that he should know him better than that, and that Littlefinger will confirm his story. Robert replies that Littlefinger only said that they had been returning from a brothel, and Ned angrily informs Robert that he was at the brothel to visit Robert's bastard daughter. When Robert criticises the girl's choice of name, Ned has a hard time keeping his temper as he demands to know how one could expect a 15-year-old whore to have better sense. He then tells Robert that the girl is in love with him. Ned asks for Robert's leave to bring Jaime back to face justice. Robert tells him to leave it alone and to make peace with Jaime. Ned declares that if this is Robert's notion of justice, he is pleased he is no longer Hand. Cersei declares, if any man had dared to speak to a Targaryen as he'd just spoken to you, but Robert cuts her off by asking angrily if she mistook him for Aerys. Cersei presses on regardless, telling Robert that she took him for a king, that Jaime and Tyrion are his brothers by marriage, and that Ned dishonours them all by driving off one brother and abducting the other. She steps too far, however, when she declares that Robert should be the one in skirts and her in armour. Robert's face goes purple with rage, and he lashes out with a blow to Cersei's face that knocks her to the floor. Cersei remarks that she will wear the bruise as a badge of honour before she is escorted out by Sir Meryn Trant. Robert, in misery, asks Ned if he sees what Cersei does to him. He continues that he should not have hit her, but says that he does not know how to fight someone you cannot hit. Robert then declares that Rhaegar won. Rhaegar has Lyanna, and he has Cersei. Ned tells Robert that they need to talk, but Robert is sick of talk and intends to hunt on the morrow. Whatever Ned wants to tell him can wait until he returns. When Ned reminds Robert that by then he will have departed for Winterfell as commanded, Robert throws the Hand's badge of office onto the bed and forbids Ned to leave. Ned asks about Daenerys Targaryen and told that that is done. Ned continues by asking why Robert wants him as Hand if he will not listen to his advice. Robert states that somebody has to run the kingdom. As he leaves, Robert swears that if Ned resigns again, he will pin the badge on Jaime Lannister.
I demand a trial by combat.